In the cool, lingering light of a fading autumn afternoon, the peaceful hum of suburban life was shattered by a moment that would soon transform a family's world. The Miller family had always cherished the simple joys, a warm home, laughter echoing through the halls, and the comforting presence of their beloved pet, Titan, a muscular yet gentle pitbull known for his uncanny sense of loyalty. Titan had earned a quiet reputation in the neighborhood for his protective nature and the way his soulful eyes seemed to understand the unspoken language of love and worry. On that fateful day, as the leaves painted the pavement with hues of amber and rust, a day that began with ordinary promise swiftly spiraled into a nightmare when young Emma, the Miller's spirited 6-year-old daughter, vanished during an afternoon walk near the edge of a sprawling forest. The incident unfolded in a heartbeat. Emma, full of curiosity and the unbridled wonder of childhood, had strayed from the familiar path, a misstep, a momentary distraction by the chirping of a distant bird, and before anyone could react, she was swallowed by the labyrinthine shadows of the forest. Panic spread like wildfire through the household as Mr. and Mrs. Miller realized that their little girl was missing. The initial cries for help gave way to frantic searches in the immediate vicinity. But soon the terrifying realization set in. Emma was lost in the vast, dense wilderness where every rustle and whisper of wind carried the weight of unknown dangers. Amid the chaos of anxious calls and tearful pleas, Titan's ears perked up. The loyal Pitbull, who had long been an unassuming guardian by the family's side, suddenly sensed something that his human companions could not. His nostrils flared as he caught a faint, familiar scent, a whiff of Emma's sweet perfume mingled with the earthy aroma of the forest floor. In that crucial moment, Titan's instincts roared to life. Without waiting for a command or an explanation, he bolted toward the direction of the forest, his powerful legs propelling him over lawns and down quiet streets. His eyes, filled with an intensity born of purpose, locked onto the scent trail that only he could discern. As Titan raced away, the family's panic reached fever pitch. Mrs. Miller, her voice choked with fear and hope, cried out for her husband to follow the dog. Neighbors emerged from their homes, drawn by the commotion, and soon a small group of volunteers and local search and rescue members had gathered. The community, bound by shared concern and a deep-rooted belief in the extraordinary loyalty of animals, organized an impromptu search party. Sirens eventually wailed in the distance as local authorities were alerted to the unfolding emergency. Yet amid the organized chaos, one truth shone brightly: Titan was leading the way. The forest itself seemed to transform in response to Titan's presence. Towering trees, their branches heavy with the memory of countless seasons, swayed gently in a cool breeze. The light filtered through the canopy in golden shards, illuminating a path that twisted and turned like an ancient secret. Every step Titan took was measured and sure, his powerful nose guiding him along the intricate network of scents that drifted on the wind. It was as though the forest recognized the urgency of the moment and cooperated with the determined canine, parting shadows and revealing hidden clearings as Titan pressed onward. For hours, searchers combed the underbrush and navigated narrow trails, their hearts buoyed by the hope that Titan's instinct would lead them to Emma. Interviews with the first responders later painted a vivid picture of the scene: exhausted volunteers, faces etched with worry, speaking of a pit bull whose unwavering determination defied the overwhelming odds. One local rescuer recalled how, in the depths of the forest, the sound of Titan's barks echoed like a beacon, urging every searcher to follow his lead through the tangle of ferns and fallen leaves. The tension in the air was palpable, a mixture of dread for the child's safety and awe at the dog's heroic pursuit. As twilight deepened, the forest transformed into a realm of shadow and mystery. The search party moved cautiously along narrow paths illuminated only by the occasional beam of a flashlight and the natural glow of the moon. In the midst of this surreal landscape, Titan continued to press on. His muscles rippled with each powerful stride, and his focused gaze never wavered from the trail. Every now and then, he would pause, head tilted as if listening intently to the whispers of the wind. Before resuming his determined journey, the air was cool and heavy with moisture, and even as the night closed in, Titan's persistence shone like a beacon of hope amid uncertainty. Back at the Miller home, the anguish of waiting was almost unbearable. Mrs. Miller clutched a faded photograph of Emma, tears streaming down her face as she repeated silent prayers for her daughter's safe return. Mr. Miller, torn between despair and determination, organized every available resource to aid the search, while a tight-knit group of neighbors formed a human chain, spreading word through local radio channels and community bulletins. Amid the desperation, however, there was a collective belief, a faith in the extraordinary bond between a child and her loyal guardian, that somehow Titan would bring Emma home. Deep in the forest, as the hours passed and hope seemed to teeter on the brink of despair, a breakthrough came in the form of a soft, whimpering sound. Titan, following his honed instincts, suddenly stopped near a dense thicket where the underbrush had grown wild and untamed. There, hidden beneath a canopy of leaves and fallen branches, the faint, distressed cry of a child broke through the night's stillness. In that electrifying moment, every heart in the search party skipped a beat. The sound, delicate yet unmistakable, was Emma's voice, fragile and pleading, lost in the labyrinth of nature yet now within reach. Titan's reaction was instantaneous, with a surge of energy that belied his weariness. He circled the thicket and began barking in a series of urgent, commanding notes. The sound carried through the forest, guiding rescuers toward the hidden spot. In the distance, flashlights converged on the area where Titan stood guard, his stance protective and resolute as he watched over the tiny figure huddled amidst the ferns. When the search team finally reached the clearing, they discovered Emma, frightened and shivering, but alive. The relief was overwhelming. Emotions ran high as family members, overcome with gratitude and joy, embraced one another in a moment of pure, unadulterated hope. The reunion was both tender and tearful. Mrs. Miller's sobs of relief were met with the reassuring nuzzle of Titan, whose eyes shone with an intelligence that seemed to say, "I kept her safe." The child, still in shock, clung to her mother, while Mr. Miller expressed his gratitude to every person present, yet his eyes were fixed on Titan, the silent hero who had led them through the darkness to find their precious Emma. In that forest clearing, amid the rustling leaves and under a sky now lit by the soft glow of a rising moon, the family's despair was transformed into overwhelming joy and relief. Over the following days, the story of Titan's heroic pursuit spread like wildfire through local media and social networks. Interviews with search and rescue team members, tearful testimonials from the Millers, and candid accounts from neighbors painted a portrait of a community united by hope and the extraordinary instincts of one devoted dog. News segments captured the raw emotions of the family as they recounted the harrowing experience, the moment when Titan's determination became the guiding light that led them through the maze of the forest. In one interview, Mr. Miller recalled with a trembling voice how, in the midst of utter panic, he had seen Titan dart off into the darkness, a living embodiment of loyalty and courage. "I knew, in that desperate moment, that nothing could be more important than following him," he said. "Titan's love is fierce, and it saved our daughter's life." Local authorities and community leaders praised the dog's remarkable tracking abilities, emphasizing that such instincts were not merely the product of training but also of an unbreakable bond forged over years of shared love and trust. Experts in animal behavior later explained that a dog's sense of smell is exponentially more powerful than that of a human, capable of distinguishing individual scents in the most complex environments. Titan's ability to pick up Emma's unique scent and follow it through the myriad layers of the forest was nothing short of extraordinary, a phenomenon that reminded everyone of the profound connection between humans and their animal companions. In the days and weeks that followed, the forest where Emma was found became both a symbol of fear and a place of miraculous redemption. Local news crews returned to capture the site, where search and rescue teams had carefully documented every detail of the rescue. Environmental experts commented on the resilience of nature and the way in which the forest, with its ancient trees and tangled undergrowth, had both concealed and revealed a story of hope. Interviews with local volunteers, many of whom had spent sleepless nights combing the wilderness, underscored the communal spirit that had driven them to never give up, even when the odds seemed insurmountable. At community gatherings, stories of the rescue were recounted with reverence. Neighbors discussed how the ordeal had reminded them of the importance of looking out for one another and cherishing every precious moment of life. The sight of Titan, now affectionately known as Guardian, was a constant reminder that even in our darkest hours, hope could be found in the most unexpected places. His heroic journey through the forest had not only reunited a family but had also rekindled a sense of unity and compassion throughout the community. As Emma recovered from the trauma of her ordeal, the Millers dedicated themselves to ensuring that no other family would ever have to endure such a heart-wrenching experience. They organized community workshops on safety and preparedness, inviting experts to speak about the importance of animal instincts in emergencies. The local school even adopted Titan's story as a lesson in courage and loyalty, a narrative that taught children about the incredible power of empathy and the bonds that tie us all together. In quiet moments, Mrs. Miller could be found cradling Emma as she recounted the miraculous night, each retelling a reaffirmation of faith in the unconditional love of a loyal friend. In the wake of the rescue, Titan's life took on a new dimension. The very dog that had once been a beloved family pet was now a local hero, admired and celebrated for his extraordinary abilities. Photographs of him, captured as he navigated the forest with purpose and vigilance, adorned bulletin boards and community centers, while social media posts chronicled his every move with heartfelt captions. One particularly moving post read, "When hope seemed lost in the depths of the forest, Guardian's determination lit the way, reminding us that love, loyalty, and the bond we share with our pets can overcome even the darkest of nights." Such words resonated with countless people who had come to see Titan not merely as an animal, but as a symbol of resilience and a guardian whose instincts had saved a life. The forest, too, took on a new significance in the community's collective memory. What was once a place of quiet mystery became a symbol of nature's unpredictable duality, a reminder that within its shadowy depths could lie both danger and the promise of salvation. Local environmental groups organized guided walks through the forest, not only to educate people about its natural beauty but also to honor the miracle that had unfolded there. Each step along the winding trails was a tribute to the tireless search efforts and to Titan's unyielding pursuit of the scent that had led to Emma's rescue. As dusk settled over the neighborhood once again, the stars emerged one by one in a clear, crisp sky. For the Millers, each twilight brought with it a deep sense of gratitude, a quiet prayer of thanks for the faithful dog whose instincts had turned despair into deliverance. Titan, ever watchful, rested peacefully by the doorstep, his eyes half closed in contentment yet ever alert to the silent call of duty. In that tranquil moment, as the cool night air embraced the home that had once been filled with anguish, there was an unspoken promise that the bonds forged in that forest would never be broken, that the light of hope would continue to shine even in the deepest darkness. Thus, the extraordinary rescue became a cherished chapter in the history of the community, a story of love, loyalty, and the remarkable ability of a devoted Pitbull to follow a scent into the heart of danger and lead a family back to safety. It was a tale that would be recounted for years to come, inspiring future generations to believe in the power of instinct, the strength of compassion, and the enduring bond between a child and the guardian who saved her. In the hours that followed the miraculous discovery of little Emma in the heart of the forest, the atmosphere among the rescuers was filled with an overwhelming mixture of relief, gratitude, and quiet introspection, as the early light of dawn began to break through the canopy of trees. A soft, golden glow embraced the clearing where Emma had been found. The once tense air was now permeated with the murmurs of exhausted volunteers and the steady reassurance of local rescue teams, all of whom recognized that they had been witness to something truly extraordinary. Local authorities carefully wrapped Emma in a warm blanket and cradled her in their arms, whispering soothing words to help calm her trembling form. In the midst of the organized chaos, the Millers, her parents, were enveloped in a tender, almost surreal moment of relief. Their eyes, red-rimmed from crying in disbelief, locked onto Titan, who stood a short distance away. The dog's chest rose and fell slowly as he sat attentively, his dark eyes still scanning the shadows as if to ensure that no lingering danger remained. In that silent exchange, words were unnecessary. Every soul present understood that Titan's unyielding devotion had saved Emma's life. As rescue vehicles began to line the forest's edge and additional teams were dispatched to comb through every last inch of the wooded area, community members huddled together, offering one another words of comfort and silent thanks. In the midst of the palpable relief, Whispers spread about the incredible tracking abilities of Titan. Local search and rescue experts, who had witnessed the dog's determined pursuit firsthand, were quick to commend his instincts. One seasoned volunteer recalled how, even in the labyrinth of ferns and fallen leaves, Titan had never wavered in his focus. He was like a living compass. The volunteer remarked later in a local interview, "Every time we thought we might have lost his trail, he would circle back, sniff out the air, and lead us to the next clue." It was nothing short of miraculous. Later that day, as the rescue operation officially concluded and Emma was safely transported to a nearby hospital for a thorough checkup, the focus shifted from frantic searching to the healing process, both for the child and for the shaken family. In the quiet waiting room of the hospital, Mrs. Miller clutched a framed photograph of Emma, the memory of her daughter's frightened eyes still etched in her mind. Though the ordeal had left emotional scars, the overwhelming joy of having their little girl back provided a glimmer of hope. Mr. Miller, who had never been one to express his feelings openly, found himself tearfully thanking every rescuer, every neighbor, and most of all, Titan, the four-legged guardian who had followed the scent of hope deep into the forest. News of the rescue spread rapidly, and within hours, local television stations arrived at the Miller residence to interview the family. In front of cameras, with the soft hum of reporters in the background, Mr. Miller recounted the sequence of events in a voice that trembled with both shock and gratitude. He spoke of how, in the midst of unbridled panic, the steadfast figure of Titan had emerged as their beacon in the dark. "I remember that moment so clearly," he recalled. "When I saw Titan dart off into the forest, I knew there was a chance, however slim, that his instincts could lead us to our daughter. It was a leap of faith that I'll never forget." His testimony resonated with viewers, many of whom found solace in the idea that, even in today's modern world, the loyalty of an animal could still play a pivotal role in saving lives. The emotional impact of Titan's heroic journey extended far beyond the Miller family. Social media erupted with praise for the Pitbull, as countless posts, tweets, and videos recounted the dramatic rescue. Hashtags such as #GuardianTitan and #Hope in the Forest began trending regionally, as animal lovers and community members alike celebrated the dog's remarkable abilities. A viral video clip, capturing the precise moment when Titan's bark first echoed through the trees and led rescuers to Emma's hidden location, garnered millions of views, inspiring many to share their own stories of pet heroism. Among the myriad of reactions was a particularly moving post from a local schoolteacher who had lost a child to an accident years ago. "Seeing Titan in action," she wrote, "reminded me that hope can be found even in the darkest of times. His courage restored my faith in the beauty of life and the power of unconditional love." Inspired by the unfolding events, community leaders soon organized a series of town hall meetings and workshops focused on emergency preparedness and the remarkable contributions that animals can make in times of crisis. Experts in animal behavior explained in detail how dogs' sense of smell can be tens of thousands of times more acute than a human's, allowing them to detect unique scents even in the most challenging environments. Their insights underscored the extraordinary nature of Titan's abilities. And soon local schools began incorporating his story into safety lessons, emphasizing the importance of remaining calm during emergencies and the value of every life, human and animal alike. In one particularly moving session held at the community center, a local psychologist described how the Miller family, along with many others in the neighborhood, had begun to heal through collective support and shared resilience. "Traumatic events can leave deep emotional wounds," she explained. "But when a community comes together, when a simple act of loyalty, like that of Titan's, can unite us in a common purpose, the healing process becomes far more powerful." It is a testament to the fact that hope, even when born in the midst of despair, can spark a chain reaction of love and support. Her words were met with nods and murmurs of agreement from those in attendance, many of whom had witnessed the rescue firsthand and understood the profound effect it had on their lives. Over the following weeks, as Emma recovered under the careful watch of medical professionals and the love of her family, Titan's days assumed a new meaning. No longer was he just a cherished pet, he had become a local hero. A symbol of unwavering loyalty and a living reminder of the extraordinary bond between a child and her guardian. Every time Titan padded across the neighborhood or trotted beside Mr. Miller during their evening walks, people would stop to offer words of thanks or share brief stories of how the dog's actions had touched their lives. Children would excitedly ask their parents about the brave dog who found Emma, and elders recalled similar stories from decades past when animals had played heroic roles in their own communities. Community organizations soon partnered with local animal shelters to hold fundraisers and awareness campaigns dedicated to recognizing the invaluable contributions of rescue animals. Banners and posters adorned community bulletin boards, with images of Titan superimposed on scenic backdrops of the forest where he had tracked the scent of hope. At one fundraising event held on a brisk, sunny afternoon, local residents gathered to donate and celebrate the spirit of heroism. Speakers recounted the incredible chain of events that led to Emma's safe return. And many mentioned how the rescue had rekindled their own sense of community, a shared recognition that even in moments of great fear, unity and determination could prevail. In an interview with a regional news network a month after the incident, a seasoned search and rescue volunteer explained how the rescue had reshaped local emergency protocols. "We always train for the worst-case scenarios," he noted. But witnessing Titan in action reminded us that sometimes, the most effective rescue tools are not high-tech equipment, but the instincts of a loving animal. His actions were a wake-up call for all of us. The comment sparked a flurry of interest in community-driven search initiatives, and local authorities began exploring new partnerships with animal trainers to harness the unique capabilities of dogs in emergency scenarios. As the weeks blended into months, the Miller family's journey of recovery became interwoven with the community's broader narrative of resilience and unity. Emma, though still a young child, gradually overcame the initial shock of her ordeal. Her laughter returned, albeit with a quiet edge of caution, and her once tearful eyes now sparkled with a cautious optimism nurtured by the support of her family and the memory of her brave savior. Family gatherings, once marked by the lingering anxiety of loss, blossomed into celebrations of life and second chances. At every holiday and community celebration, Titan's heroic deed was recounted with a mixture of humility and pride, each telling a reminder of how a single act of loyalty had the power to heal not just a family, but an entire community. Local schools incorporated the story into art and writing assignments. In classrooms, students painted pictures of Titan amid towering trees and whispered their own versions of the rescue story during storytelling sessions. Teachers used the narrative to instill lessons of empathy, perseverance, and the importance of trusting one's instincts in the face of adversity. One particularly moving classroom project involved the creation of a wall of heroes, where students posted drawings, poems, and essays celebrating not only Titan, but all the unsung heroes in their lives. The project quickly became a beloved tradition, a tribute to the enduring power of courage and hope. In the months that followed, the forest itself transformed from a symbol of dread into a place of quiet reverence. Local environmental groups organized guided walks through the area, inviting community members to experience the natural beauty of the woods while also paying homage to the site of Emma's rescue. During these walks, guides would pause to point out the very clearing where Titan had tracked the child, sharing with participants how nature, with its endless cycles of life and renewal, could be both a source of peril and a haven of miracles. For many, the experience was deeply moving, a vivid reminder that even in nature's wildest realms, love and loyalty could light the way through darkness. As time moved forward and the scars of that night began to heal, the legacy of Titan's heroic rescue continued to inspire new chapters of community unity and advocacy. Local animal welfare organizations, buoyed by the positive attention generated by the incident, launched campaigns to educate the public about the potential of every dog to be a hero when given a loving home and proper training. Community leaders worked tirelessly to dismantle outdated stereotypes about certain breeds, emphasizing instead the boundless capacity for compassion that exists within every living creature. Public service announcements featured testimonials from families whose lives had been transformed by their own rescue pets. And Titan's story became a central narrative, a shining example of what it meant to overcome adversity and find redemption through loyalty and love. In one particularly poignant moment during a commemorative ceremony held on the anniversary of Emma's rescue, Mrs. Miller took the stage with tears glistening in her eyes. That night, when we thought our worst nightmare was coming true, Titan's unwavering determination led us to our daughter. She said softly, her voice quivering with emotion. He not only found her in the depths of the forest but also gave us back our hope. Today, we honor him not just as our pet, but as our guardian angel. The crowd, moved by her heartfelt words, responded with a standing ovation, a gesture that transcended mere applause and spoke to the deep, collective gratitude of a community that had been forever changed. News outlets continued to feature stories about Titan, and his image became synonymous with the themes of hope, resilience, and the extraordinary bond between humans and animals. Interviews with experts in animal behavior provided scientific insights into how a dog's sense of smell could detect the faintest traces of human presence, even in an environment as vast and complex as a forest. These segments, peppered with slow-motion footage of Titan's determined strides and close-up shots of his focused eyes, served as both a technical explanation and an emotional tribute to his heroic spirit. As autumn gave way to winter, the community's bond only grew stronger. Families gathered around community bonfires to share their stories, and local schools organized holiday events where children would dress up as their favorite animal heroes. During these gatherings, stories of Titan's rescue were interwoven with other tales of courage and unity, creating a tapestry of human and animal connection that warmed even the coldest nights. The spirit of that rescue continued to guide the neighborhood, instilling in everyone a belief that, no matter how dark the night may seem, hope can always be found when hearts are united in compassion. In quiet moments at home, Mr. and Mrs. Miller often reflected on the chain of events that had led to the safe return of their daughter. They marveled at the strange and beautiful ways in which fate had intervened. A simple act of instinct by a beloved dog had prevented a tragedy that could have shattered their lives. Their gratitude was not only directed toward Titan, but toward every person who had rallied together in a time of crisis. And as Emma's laughter gradually filled the halls of their home once more, the family vowed to honor Titan's memory by advocating for the responsible care and adoption of all animals in need. In the end, Titan's story transcended the boundaries of a single rescue. It became a timeless reminder that in the midst of fear and uncertainty, loyalty and love can light the way, and that even in the depths of despair, hope can be found. The journey from a frantic search in the dark forest to a joyful reunion at dawn was etched into the collective memory of the community, a legacy that would continue to inspire and guide future generations. Thus, as the days turned into months and the memory of that fateful night softened into a gentle, enduring legend, Titan remained a living symbol of the unbreakable bond between humans and their animal guardians. His courageous actions had rewritten the narrative of loss into one of hope, resilience, and unwavering love, a narrative that would be told and retold, generation after generation, as a beacon of light in the face of darkness.